This episode of Nintendo Expansion Pass is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support Nintendo Pop Black and the Boss Rush Network, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Boss Rush Network and see which tier is right for you. Thanks for your continued support. Hello everybody, welcome to Nintendo Expansion Pass here on Boss Rush Games. I'm your host, enlightened and excited ADV. Joining me is the one, the only Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig. Hello, good sir.
Hello, Ed. It's feeling a bit empty in here today. The day we're recording this, I packed all of my video games and strategy guides and statues and everything. So it's a little bit empty in here. All of my shelves are empty. It's weird. It's weird in here. Also, the soundproofing will be coming down next weekend. So over the course of the next month or so, or two, or however many episodes we record, my audio may sound a little echoey, maybe, but
it's not guaranteed.
I'm moving, so you'll have to get over it.
Well, is the other house empty?
Yeah, the other house is empty.
Oh, so they did get their place.
Well, I mean, it'll be empty by the time we get the keys, so it's not like we're putting stuff in there while their stuff is still there. So.
Oh, see, that's what I was wondering. I thought they were gone and stuff.
I don't know. I don't want to wait till the last minute to pack everything, so I started packing up non-essentials, which was all of my video games except for my Xbox and my Switch. And even then, like, I'm thinking about packing up the docks and stuff for my Switch and extra controllers and everything. So I might do that next weekend.
Have you started the room by room packing?
Not yet. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
But it's been a
eventful weekend, I should say.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good though.
Well, everybody, as you can see, we're all going to be talking about the Nintendo Directs that we are predicting things that could possibly be shown in it. Now, at this time of this recording, there's not an official announcement of the Nintendo Direct, but we're expecting it to come in February next month, or maybe sometime this month in January. Most of the times it has been in February. I think last year, Microsoft showed theirs first with the Developers Direct, and I think Nintendo followed after.
Yeah, well, the Xbox Developer Direct was at the end of January. I think it was like the 24th or 25th or something like that.
Okay.
And then Nintendo did their Direct like mid-February, like the week after Valentine's Day or something. So
okay. Which I think people are thinking Microsoft might do the same thing again this year.
That's what's rumored. I put a rumor on the website the other day that Insider Gaming reported it, but there was a Reddit thread that was talking about how Xbox is planning on doing one and the date is set in stone, but the Shadow Drop may or may not happen. My thought is that we already know what the Shadow Drop is for Game Pass, and that's Towerborn, which is Stoic's new game.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. We'll talk about that on a different thing because I know how people feel about us talking about Xbox sometimes on this show. So
yes. Well, everybody, there is going to be some news that me and Corey have probably already talked about if it happens. And it may get talked about in this episode. So we're going to come with 5 predictions each on what possibly can happen at the next Nintendo Direct. Now, it's like I said before, it's not official. We only make predictions. Some might be wacky and off, but some might actually possibly happen. We don't know. Corey, would you like to start, or do you want me to start this one?
I'll go first. So I'm not gonna be like, oh, they're gonna show Princess Peach Showtime gameplay. It's. I'm not doing stuff like that.
Right.
This is stuff that could potentially happen over the spring, before their next kind of maybe their summer one or whatever.
Yes.
When, man, Nintendo. What is the Nintendo Direct's schedule? Not schedule. Nintendo Direct.
Well, it used to be in January, but they moved. But they fluctuate between January and February.
I know the one in February is always in February, but is there usually one in like April or something?
No.
Well, let's see here. I went to the Nintendo Direct archive, so the last one was in September.
Right.
The last like real one. So I'm not counting anything like so. There was one last year in February. February 8th was the last one. And that was in February. They did one in March, but it was only about the Mario movie.
Yes.
So I'm not counting that. So
the one game direct.
Yeah.
Directs.
Let's see. So September, June, February. September, June, February. September, June, February. Okay, so it seems September, June, February is their kind of cadence, right? So
yes.
Okay, I wanted to make sure there wasn't one in like April or May because sometimes they used to do, like, okay, so there was well, that's COVID year. I don't really count that, I guess. There was a year where they did one. Oh, it's been pretty consistent actually. Oh, they did one in March. So it was January, March. This was 2018 though, so I guess this doesn't really count. So it was that year. It was January, March, June, September, November, then February. Okay.
Yeah, because I think
also
some
this
of them...
doesn't. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I think some of them were partner directs where they was having like 15 or 20 minutes.
Well, according to these, are all these are all regular Nintendo Directs or direct minis.
Was the partner ones in for COVID? I think
the partner ones. I'm just looking at the thumbnails on here. I skipped over the partner ones. I skipped over the single game ones.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. So, Ed, my first one is bold. Okay, this is a bold prediction. Bold prediction. We are going to get right off the bat the Xenoblade Chronicles X port finally this year.
Ooh.
In the spring, or I would say like the April spot, whatever April. I'm going to say they're going to announce it here, and they're going to release it somewhere between April and August.
Do you think we get the digital physical treatment, digital fresh physical?
No.
Or do you think?
I don't think that. I feel like Xenoblade is too big to do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3, especially 2 and 3 were huge. 3 was massive for Nintendo.
Oh, yes.
And so, like, okay, I would say if this was some sort of like GameCube remaster or something, like, okay, if they went ahead and did the Metroid Prime remasters, right, 1, 2, and 3, I would say they would do that. You know, they would do drop the digital versions, and then they would do the physical later. Which, spoilers, that may or may not show up on my list as well here. Now, granted, I know not all of these are going to happen, but I think Xenoblade Chronicles X. You and I have talked about this for a long time. We think, I mean, for me now, granted, I haven't played 3. But out of 1, 2, and X, I think X is the best one.
There's money to be had, and I think X would sell more on Switch due to the fact that people
due to the fact that there's 120 Switches out there and there's only 10 million Wii U's. Yes, I agree.
I think, outside of that, because like even just Xenoblade 1, um, that was a surprise hit for Nintendo because of the pre-orders and everything and all of that. Even with that having 100 million base for Wii, I think with Wii U, uh, I think Xenoblade Chronicles still wasn't as big. I think until 2 and Smash Brothers came out, and then when it clicked for gamers, because even they even try to do that with the 3DS Xenoblade Chronicles. Um,
Yeah, that version's bad.
Yeah, I know. I think when 3 came out, 3 kind of had the Fire Emblem Awakening feel to it, where people realized, oh, this is a big deal. Nintendo crashing to get the collector's edition, and I think people seeing what the series can really be. Even with the DLC and stuff. So I think Xenoblade Chronicles X has a bigger chance to even sell bigger than the Wii U version and everything, because now it's a more recognizable franchise.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well, everybody,
so I would so just to go back to Xenoblade, if people don't know, I mean, obviously Xenoblade Chronicles X is a completely different beast than these, right? It's more of like you kind of customize your own mech partway through the game, and then every like 30 hours or so that game changes the game that it is, because like not only are you building mechs, but then like 70 to 80 hours into the game you're flying and fighting dragons, and then you're like, it's all about this and like there's not really a main character. You are the main character, but you customize your own character.
Yeah.
And so it's just this really strange outlier, but also like really cool at the same time.
It I don't even know what the plot of this game is.
Yeah, I mean, nobody really does. I kind of forget at this point already too, but I just remember it being like really fun, and the mechs were cool, and character creator was fun.
Yes, and I think because of the things in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 that they put in that game, the quality of life things, made that game better and easier to follow. I think that could happen with Chronicles X for Switch, remastered, if they want to do that, because everybody, when that game came out, even with the updates and everything, personally for me, my jaw was on the floor, because I'm like, how is this game looking this gorgeous and running this well on Wii U? Like, it was confusing on how Monolith Soft got that game running on Wii U. I'm just like, oh, this should be impossible, but it's not.
Yeah. So that's my pick. Also, like, remember the Wii U version had that, like, the game was on the disc, but it had that 19 gig patch, which was very rare for Nintendo, that like gave you like you would download better asset packs, like texture packs, and the way that the world looked was different based on the asset packs that you downloaded. It was like a 19 gig pack.
and they were just like, please download this before the game even came out. Like, how did you put that out? Because I think we even talked about that on Power Block, that this should be the future. If you're going to get a game,
well, I mean, games just do that automatically now. It's on a hardware level now. I mean, that's what like graphics cards are for, and like that's what graphics cards and stuff do now. Where you know how Nintendo is so far behind everybody else. It's not like a.
But it was more.
The 360 and the PS3 had already been doing that for years. What Nintendo did with that.
But I think but I'm saying that getting the patch out before the game came. So if you decide to get that game and you already got the patchwork and stuff done,
well, it's not a patch. It was an asset pack. It wasn't a patch. It was a download, like a piece of DLC.
Well, I thought it was like a patch or something.
No,
Or
it was a download. It was a download pack. It was a DLC pack essentially that made the game run functionally different. But the game was totally playable.
Well, I think that's why I called it a patch, because of all the stuff to make the game better.
Yeah, but don't call it a patch because people are going to yell at you in the comments, and I'm not. It's not a patch, so don't call it a patch.
Well, that's what
trying to save you here.
I know, but I said personally for me, that's what I thought when it was originally released and everything. So, and that I think we were talking about it on Pop because I'm just like, I would love to see this before games came out to make the install better and everything. So that's all I'm saying. Y'all could calm down, audience. Calm down. Hold your comments.
They're gonna get you. We're gonna read them live next week.
Yeah, I'll be good.
Not really. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network and our family of podcasts.
Well, Corey, my number 5 is new NSO games coming to the surface. And normally, sometimes we'll see, like on Twitter, that Nintendo would drop some information and everything. But I think all the systems that's on NSO is going to get games like announced that's coming to it. So NES, Super Nintendo, N64, Game Boy, and Game Boy Advance. And Sega Genesis. I think all 6 of them are going to come. I don't think they're going to introduce a new system. I would love for them to, but I think it's too late in the console's lifespan for that to happen. Now,
well, for me, I don't. It all depends on if the next console is iterative, which, there's a rumor floating around out there that a lot of Japanese analysts are talking about it, and they're talking about how this is an iterative console instead of, a brand new piece of tech, which is what, I've heard and what we've talked about and what we've been kind of just hoping for years at this point is a more powerful version of the Switch. That's all we need,
mm-hmm.
So,
well, yeah. So new NSO games coming to the console. I'd probably say it'll probably be 2 to 3 games per system. That would be a good selection because you'll have 12 to 18 games to choose from. It really like, of course, some
where
first
are the
party
Genesis games? Where are the Genesis games?
So that's a good question. That's all up to Sega. Because I think when Sega does their releases, they let Nintendo know what they're going to be putting on the console and everything. So,
yeah, I mean, plus they release those dumb Sega collections like every other year. It feels like a new Genesis collection is coming out with, this one has 47 games, but 43 of them are the same as the last collection.
Right. I wonder if they're going to also move Sega CD into it. I think it's time for them to put Sega CD in the Genesis collection. I would love to have that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, I don't see why. Sorry. Hold on. All right, Ed.
Okay.
Sorry. I had a little snafu there with some issues behind me, but it's okay. We're back.
Yes,
sorry.
We are. Yes. So, Corey, what is your number 4 prediction?
Man, my number 4 prediction, Ed, is I think we're going to see Donkey Kong. Ed.
Ooh.
how are we going to see Donkey Kong? I'm not 100% sure. But I think with obviously with the Mario movie coming out, there was a recent surge of popularity with the Kongs in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know um, if that's a Donkey Kong Country Returns Wii HD version, or if it's a third game, or if it's I don't if it's that rumored 3D Donkey Kong that the Mario Odyssey team is rumored to be working on. I don't think they would announce that here. I feel like they would save that.
Mm-hmm. For
But
summer games.
I think we're going to see Donkey Kong in some sort of way. I know the remake of that Mario vs. Donkey Kong is coming. I hope that's not it, but I also think that people are kind of itching for a 2D Donkey Kong game, and I actually think an HD version with the controls of Tropical Freeze would be welcomed on the Switch. And so, and man, I really hate that a lot of the things that I'm saying are going to be like remakes or remasters or something, but
I mean, but those are
this
coming.
2024 is going to be a remake / remaster heavy year. You know, I mean, if the new console is coming, that's what it's going to be. So
Yeah.
I think we're going to see Donkey Kong in some way. I would really like to see Donkey Kong in some fashion. So that's my pick.
I know you. I don't know if you wrote this down. But when you text me yesterday, you were just like, man, we need a new Punch Out, and I was just like, dude, so badly do we need that? Like,
Yeah,
and,
well,
and I
that's
was
because
just
I was watching somebody play Punch Out, Mike Tyson's Punch Out on YouTube while I was packing, and I was like, man, Punch Out's fun. I kind of
it
miss Punch Out.
is.
We need a new one.
Yeah, we do. And I know I say that we got arms and stuff, but I'm like, I I could go for an old fashioned Punch Out game. Like, that's just me.
Yeah.
Well, Corey, my number 4 is we're gonna get dates for Peach, Thousand Year, and Dark Moon. We're gonna get release dates for 'em, and I think it's gonna be between March and June. So March, April, May, or June, 3 of those games will come out. And everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time for us. I think Dark Moon will probably see more of. Paper Mario we might see more of, and we probably get a breakdown for Peach. But I think all 3 of those games are going to get dated. The Mario versus Donkey Kong, I don't know if that's going to get dated just yet. But that is a possibility sometime between that time frame, because I think they're trying to get everything to come out by, I want to say, June, July, at least stuff that's going to be announced and everything. And things that got pushed back or pushed to 2024, we'll see more of with dates and stuff.
So, yeah, I agree. I think a lot of these are definitely, Q1 / spring games. I think there's going to be one kind of tentpole title, I would say, during at least the first half of the year. I would argue that Princess Peach Showtime is not that game. So, I mean, it's not going to be your Zelda or Mario, but I do think it's going to be something bigger, and that's why I said Donkey Kong. I think we need that tentpole title for the spring to kind of just show people that like the Switch is still going, and it's still strong. And even if we aren't getting a 3D Mario game or a Zelda game, like this is the title you look to and be like, oh, okay, well, I've held off for a Switch for this long for some unknown reason. This might be the game that makes me pick it up.
Yeah, and I think it's good that we're going to have just a variety of platforming games starting the year out, in a sense. So yeah. But Corey, what is your number 3?
My number 3, Ed. I think we're going to. I think they're gonna show a new. I think they're going to show a new set of Joy-Cons.
Ooh.
I think they're going to. I think they're going to show a new set, and it's going to coincide with one of the games that's coming out. I think maybe like a pink set for Princess Peach, or maybe there's a Mario versus Donkey Kong set, which would be really cool. Maybe one looks like Donkey Kong's tie and the other one is blue like Mario's overalls or whatever. I think that would be kind of cool. But I think we're going to see some sort of new set of Joy-Cons that matches up with one of the games that's coming out.
Who have a Donkey Kong on the yellow one and Mario on the red one.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that too. It could be that too. Or what would really be cool would be like a Switch Lite, like the Pokemon ones with them on the back or something.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I would definitely love to see that. And like, even though hopefully they get sold as a pack instead of being sold as exclusive on the system. Like a Princess Peach get a Switch OLED, with dock and Joy-Cons and stuff. Or even Mario versus Donkey Kong, if it gets that same treatment. I hope it's not just attached to a system that you have to buy. Even though it'll be ideal for Nintendo, because it's be like, well, we're trying to get a certain sales number this year and more sales for the console, and this may be a way to do it. But I would love to see if they just do it individually. Like, I think $79.99 it would be the price point for them. I would be down for that. Because I would try to snag one and just have them. I still haven't used my white Joy-Cons connected to my OLED.
Yeah, I have. So it's funny because now I don't know if this was just like a glitch in the game or whatever, but I was playing Disney Dreamlight Valley over the break, and I'm like really scared, but I think I experienced Joy-Con drift for the first time.
Oh no.
Now granted, like I would wiggle the stick and press pause and then unpause it and it would be fine. And then when I was in the menus, there was no changes or anything, but like the stick wasn't moving or anything, but like I was playing and then like there would be some real slowdown in the game. And then my character would just start creeping around, like walking around. And I'm like, oh no, am I experiencing Joy-Con drift? Is this what's happening?
So, no.
But yeah, I'm really hoping that's not what that was.
Yes. So Corey, what is your number? What were we just doing 3?
Yeah, so this would be 2.
Okay. Well, my number 3, is Bandai Namco Unknown Switch game is shown. I know I think there were trying to get people to work on something for Bandai Namco. There was like and there was kind of, I think, a rumor or something. It may have been a job posting, but I think Bandai Namco was coming with a new game for Nintendo Switch, because I think they was hiring people, and I think we're probably going to get some kind of trailer or some kind of announcement from them. It is a possibility because Bandai Namco has been focusing on Tekken 8. Definitely. That's their big thing. And I think by the time this Nintendo Direct happens, Tekken 8 will have already been out. It'll do its sale numbers. People have been playing it, giving reviews. All of that will be out the way. And I think Bandai Namco could focus on their next announcement project. And I think we could see that for Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, that was actually my number 1, is that the Bandai Namco rumor has been floating around, and I guess I'll just talk about it now because we're already here. But my thing is that I think we're going to get a Kid Icarus from Bandai Namco.
You really think so? Well, we've been talking about it. Yeah.
I think it's going to be like Kid Icarus Uprising Plus or something on that nature, where it's not going to be a huge game. Right. Mm-hmm. It's going to be, I don't know. It's not going to be like this massive Zelda style experience that I think Kid Icarus maybe deserves, of Breath of the Wild style treatment, but more vertical. And I don't know. I think that would be really interesting. But I do think we're going to get some sort of Kid Icarus game, and it's going to be maybe sort of challenging, maybe Baby's first Souls like. I don't know. That's my opinion. I feel very strongly that Kid Icarus is coming, especially because also I don't know if you saw Sakurai tweet out, but he said he's still making games.
Yes.
And that was as of like last week.
Because he hasn't left Nintendo or anything.
Well, he doesn't technically work for Nintendo. He works for Sora, which is his company, and then he teams with Nintendo and Bandai Namco to make Smash Brothers. So he technically doesn't work for Nintendo. He's contracted by Nintendo.
Ah, okay. I thought he was part of the Nintendo family, development studio wise kind of thing. Oh, I could see that. Yeah, when he said he was still making games, I wonder like what would be his new project. And I know Hideki, former part of developer of Platinum Games, I know he said he still wants to continue making video games. So I think he's like on a break for right now, but I don't know if he plans to start his own studio.
Hideki Kamiya?
Hideki, yeah.
He's he's not allowed. Like he's like he has a 1 year I'm not allowed to make games thing from when he left Platinum. So he's not allowed to make games right now.
Did he say that, or
it's probably part of a non-compete clause that he signed with his contract, right? I mean, that's not that weird.
And I think he's probably just because I have a feeling that he probably wasn't making games at Platinum Games and stuff.
Well, I mean, he was directing, and he probably had a couple projects that he wanted to do, right? I mean, that was kind of so. I don't know. By the way, everybody, I'm sorry. My daughter is like being really overly tired tonight. So if you hear her in the background, I'm trying to mute myself when I can, but you're going to hear her on this episode, I think. So it's why I muted. It's why we had that snafu earlier. So I'm going to maybe go check on her again in a minute. But yeah, sorry, everybody. I'm really sorry. I'm going to try to do my best to edit her out, but no promises.
Yes. So, Bandai Namco coming with something. Bandai Namco, like I mentioned to Corey, we talked about them doing Kid Icarus, and I think they are a fitting company to do it under. I think it was Sora's project.
The 3DS one was Sora. Yeah, it was the one they did in between Smash Brothers games.
Okay, yeah, I think they will work together again to do Kid Icarus. Whether it be a remake or a 3D action adventure game, which I think that would be fitting because I think Kid Icarus is good to have comedy in it, even though it's a little bit serious. Sakurai them know how to put comedy inside of it.
I almost wonder if it's I almost wonder if they would do a 2D Kid Icarus just to kind of, because not that I'm a game designer or anything, but I almost wonder if it's easier to do that than it would be to do that.
Yeah.
Just my opinion, I guess.
Yes. Well, Corey, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is it's been a year. It'll have been almost a year since we got Metroid Prime remastered. I think the shoe-in would be a 2 and 3 at the same time remaster, and then package them together physically the way that Pikmin 1 and 2 were packaged. You could sell them separately for $40 a piece, or you could sell them together for $60. Digitally, you could shadow drop them. Would be real easy.
Oh shoot, that's easy. 140 easy coins. Like, I think people will buy them digitally if there was a day one drop. But yeah, people are going to buy that double pack if that happens.
Yeah. So that's my. I guess that's my layup, but I feel like that's a no-brainer at this point. Especially with how popular Metroid Prime Remastered was and how great it was. Man, that game was really good, by the way.
Yes.
But
Yeah, and I think a lot of people didn't get to experience Metro Prime 3. Uh, so I think it would be a good chance, or even 2. I think Echoes and Prime 3, Corruption. I think a lot of people will get ready to experience that and some good sales for it. Um, well, my number 2 is, and I'm gonna know I'm going to get a lot of feedback for this. Um, Alan Wake 2 coming in the cloud edition for Switch.
wait, what's coming?
Alan Wake 2 coming in
Oh,
cloud edition.
I, I mean, it's not that hard to think about. I mean, Epic has games on Nintendo Switch. Remedy has put Control in the cloud, and the Switch got Alan Wake remastered. So I mean, I don't think that that's a stretch. I mean, I don't know how well the cloud version of Control did, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, judging by the way that Alan Wake 2 has sold, or not sold reportedly. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but I just how it's not selling, I think putting it on another platform might be good for them. So I don't think that's that big of a stretch at all.
I just feel like it would be, of course, pretty much people wouldn't buy it, but I think people would definitely look at the reviews and follow Digital Foundry to see it. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that it gets announced. I mean, why not? I mean, it's just a cloud edition, and who
Yeah,
knows? I know people will make fun of it, but I'm like, Epic and Remedy could probably go for it.
yeah.
So
So I don't know. That's not that big of a stretch for me. I don't think.
okay. And I'll just jump into my number one. Everybody, I think Capcom or Focus Entertainment has a new IP exclusively for Switch. I think I just have a feeling that one of those companies, now Focus Entertainment, I think it's doing Front Mission 3 remake. But
Yeah,
I think Capcom has something in store for Switch, just like straight exclusive. Nothing Resident Evil, nothing Monster Hunter related, nothing Mega Man. I just think they have something brand new, literally for the Nintendo Switch.
hmm.
Um, and I think it's time for Capcom to bring out a new IP for the system. Like, I know we got Ghost Goblins Resurrection and all of that, but I'm like, I would love to see something new from them. Uh or or you know, maybe take one of Nintendo's old IP that they're not using and bring another game out. Like, who knows? But I think either of those two will have a new game for exclusive for Switch. So that's my number one.
Hmm.
Uh,
Do you think so? Just I don't know. We've been going for a little over a half hour, but just to kind of wrap up this conversation, do you think Nintendo is ready, like as a company, not as a console? Because I think we all think that they're ready for a new console. But
mhm.
do you think Nintendo as a company realizes they're ready for a new console, or do you think they're just like, whatever, we're just going to keep putting out games until you know?
I
Because,
I
like,
don't
in
think.
all honesty, like the Switch is going to sell for at least a year and a half to 2 years
Yeah.
after the next console comes out, right? I mean, you especially because you think of parents with kids, and if they do a redesign or if they just kind of shove everything down to one SKU or something,
Mhm.
right? Like, or even if it's an iterative console, like you give your kids the old one and then they'll play that while you play the new one. And if they really want to play the new one, you'll just, you know,
No, I don't think they're ready yet. And I think the reason being is because I think they're waiting to see what Microsoft is Sony really gonna bring to the table. And I know they don't really care about what they're doing or anything, But because, and I know we talked about this so many people, too many times, everybody. So just, I'm sorry that I've got to speak it. There hasn't been a lot for those systems, first party wise, to showcase why you should step into this new gen or current generation of uh competitors games and stuff until there's a big flow of them and a good library of them. I think that's when Nintendo will be ready, because the thing what's going to end up happening is that even if Nintendo gives the power and the graphics and all of this stuff, it's going to be like, what innovative gameplay ideas did you guys take? How did you take this style of artwork and make it look so good? Why are you like, what's your priority engine that you're using? How are you doing this and that and everything? And doing all of this, did you do it under a budget of under $100 million? Did you do this with a team of 56 to 75 people? Like, is it something that you guys are doing that is going to blow our minds, that feels, that separates you from the competition, and it showcases that you can have beautiful games and gripping stories and all of this effects and all of that without having to break the bank? Because uh, whether you guys like it or not, Tears of the Kingdom, I know we talked about this, Corey, that was the experiment for the $70 games, but give Nintendo that power that they need, even if it's a PS4 Pro or Xbox One X. Like, even if you just give them the power, let them show you what they could do with it, because it's going to be it's going to blow our minds to be like, oh, y'all. Oh, so you don't need 4K. You guys are working within 1440p. You guys are doing good with 30, or maybe you are hitting 60 frames per second. You guys are making stuff look good. And even after the reveal of a game looking good and stuff, the gameplay is tight. And I think Nintendo is just waiting to make sure that, hey, third party partners, hopefully you guys are not just porting stuff over it, but you have things ready to go. Square Enix, Dragon Quest 12, you may have to push it to our next system. If that's what it takes and everything, push it to our next system. Like, and I think they're waiting for their partners and stuff to get, really prepared for what's coming next. But I think right now at this time, Nintendo's not ready. I think they just line up games because Nintendo got a huge library. I think what they probably released, I want to say maybe out of the 7 years, maybe 70 games, 60 to 70 games. I might be wrong with that, but they have a huge first party library ever since the Switch was released. And there have been a lot of hits for that system. So I think they're just waiting to get ready to be like, okay, the competition has stepped up the plate. They got a lot of first party games that we got to compete, and system sales are slowing down and those are going up. It's time to do it. It's time to go in and show our new console. We got our 4 or 5 games lined up. It's backwards compatible, region free still. Bam, go.
Yeah. Sorry, I was muted because it's getting loud again. Yeah, I mean, I think Nintendo is Nintendo, and they will do what I think they will stretch this out as long as they possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that this regime that's there now is more. We've talked about this before, right? They are way more. What do you say? They're conservative. They're way more conservative than previous regimes, and I think the iterative console is their best bet, and I think that's what they're going to do because it seems like they are more conservative in certain perspectives, and they are taking risks where it makes sense, but they're also not like, hey, you can, motion control whatever, right? It's all they have a smash hit and they know it, and I think they want to capitalize on keeping this alive, especially with you see the Steam Deck coming out, and the ROG Ally, and MSI is rumored to be putting something out at CES, and Lenovo just put out theirs, and PlayStation kind of fudged one out with the Portal, and so like the handheld console experience is popular, and Nintendo doesn't want to lose that. But I do think they have to do something a little bit more interesting than just putting out a new Switch, right? It's got to be more powerful. They've got to have an SSD inside with more than 5 gigs of storage space. They gotta do something to make this thing a viable platform that people are willing to upgrade to.
Right,
it can't just be like, oh, well, a year and a half from now, you'll get a Mario game that, utilizes this tech. No, you gotta do something to make them feel like this console is something worth upgrading to. And now the hardcore Nintendo fans will upgrade, right? Like,
yeah,
well, I'll get one, but then again, how do you get the people who have waited this long to get a Switch to get one?
But and the thing about it is, of course, Japan is their focus, but because of the Switch, it's worldwide now. It's not just Japan anymore. They got to count in America and Europe and Canada and all of these places. If they're seeing good sales or great sales or exceptional sales with the console and with the games, they got to think of worldwide. Yes, America wants the power, but Japan might want the accessibility and stuff like that. UK, how can we get them to get one in their home, even though it's a big Sony market over there? They're gonna probably try to figure things out, and they want to make sure that when they execute it, when it's the right time to do it, that it literally is the right time to do it and everything. Mm-hmm. Because I put this question out, to Delvin and his crew at PSVG, because they're doing it's their PlayStation podcast. I was just like, if Sony does not step up their game with releases, can Microsoft and Nintendo dominate the player conversation consistently, like in the community? And Nintendo could do that easily. They easily could dominate with people talking about them and keeping their name consistent in their mouths and everything, because they could do a trailer, they could do a movie trailer, they could literally do anything. They could put out open up a new Nintendo store somewhere, put out clothing or key changes, or like a restaurant in America or wherever, and Nintendo could do all of this stuff and keep our mouths talking about them and stuff. And you kind of want that, because of everybody just continue to talk about them in whatever manner that they want, whether it's good or bad. When that new system come out, people will be ready to really talk about them and everything. And because of that talk, then it's the possibilities of what could come to that system. Because we know we're going to get ports and everything, but what is going to be coming to the system that's going to make us salivate and be like, yeah, Nintendo I don't know what the system is or what they're going for, but I'm here for it. The message is clear what Nintendo is doing. So I think right now they're just waiting for the right time.
I agree, and I think we'll hear something about the new console this year. I really do. Yes. Maybe over the summer. I don't think it's coming this fall. I truly think they want to get one more holiday out of the Switch before they start promoting something new. I think the reveal and release cycle is going to be very similar to the Switch, and I'm looking forward to it.
And I think once we get to the stockholder meetings and stuff, I think that stuff gets reported in a sense. I think that's where everybody's going to be paying attention, because of Nintendo hints at something, trying to mention it, and it gets reported, everybody is going to be waiting with a bated breath to see what is said in the reveal. So,
Yep.
But with that, everybody, that's gonna be it for Nintendo Expansion Pass. This Nintendo Direct, we're definitely gonna be watching it. Whether it's good or bad, we definitely gonna have a Nintendo Direct recap. That you're gonna have to see the thumbnail for it. It's in production. I'm just saying it right there. If you hear this before it gets revealed. But it's literally amazing. Corey has worked hard on this, and I'm so happy to see it when you guys see it. With that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you on next time on Nintendo Expansion Pass. Bye, everybody.
Bye. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network and our family of podcasts.